Hey everybody, welcome to the Black Sheep Props channel. I'm Steve and I'm here to teach you the tips, tools, techniques, and materials for building your very own super cool EVA foam props. Now in our last build we went video game when we built the kukri from Assassin's Creed. Now if you missed that build, we are going to include the link in the description below for our channel's homepage, so you can go there and you can check out kukri or any of our other super cool builds that you might have missed. So now in this episode, we're going to go video game again. So without further ado, Black Sheep Props would like to introduce you to the newest member of the family. Love it! Wow, look at that. That is the Magnum from Halo. That's right. Look at that. Man, that thing is crazy. Tons of levels and layers and building up piece upon piece to get little recessed cavities and lots of geometric angles. This thing had to be put together like a puzzle to get all of this kind of detail, but super easy. You can totally nail this. And it's kind of banged up and battle damaged looking. It's got scuff marks and scratches all over the edges. It's got kind of like dirty patches around it where you can see the gray turn to black, almost like it's soot or exhaust or something cool. And we've got sort of a weathered stripe around it. Love this thing. So in this episode, making an EVA foam Halo Magnum Part 1, we're going to begin going step by step through how to make it. And we have a template for this too, so if you want to build along with us, we're going to include the link to our storefront in the description below, so you can go and pick up a template and build along with us, or chill out, be a potato. That's what I like to do. Either way, it's cool. So, heck man, if you're ready to hit it, let's make something. All right, here we go. We're going to begin building the central body piece for our Magnum. We've got a big, thick 2-inch piece of foam. We're going to knock this out on the bandsaw. Now remember, if you don't have 2-inch foam, you can take whatever foam you do have and you can glue the pieces together and stack it up to get 2 inches. All right, check that out, really cool. Now what we've done is we've drawn these lines on the side and the top, tilted our table, and we're gonna feed this through and we're gonna cut right on our line. Always keep your fingers away from the blade. All right, there we go, check that out. We've got a bevel down both sides, just like that. And we've got our little angle cuts on the bottom. We're gonna bevel these two sides off next. So we have our 2 bevel cuts across the top and we have our 2 bevel cuts across the bottom, so we're starting to get this nice geometric shape to our body. Okay, now we're going to come in with the piece of foam that's going to wrap around our body piece. And we traced our template over and then we measured on our prop, and it turns out that our original template was a little bit too big, so we adjusted it. So right out the end, just like that. So once we lay it down and we stretch it, it's going to line right up perfectly. All right, there we go. We got a soft round edge. What that does is that tightens up the foam. Look at that. All right, there we go. Give it a few minutes before we make contact. All right, here we go. Now, we want the front edge of this piece to hang over the front a little bit. And there. And then, okay, there we go. We lined our Sharpie marks up at the front and the back. So we lay this down. We're gonna stretch it just like that, and like that, and like that. All right, there we go. Now we're just gonna come over and we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna roll it over so that it's tightly wrapped. Beautiful. See that flush at the back right there? And then we've got this cool overhang right here, which is exactly what we wanted. That is cool. All right, so if you can see what we did here, we drew this angled line. We're gonna move over to the bandsaw and we're going to all right, there we go, check it out. We just ripped that corner off right there. Okay, now what we did was we drew these marks on the back end right here because we want to cut off these two corner angles. All right, there we go. We got the two edges cut off. That's exactly what we wanted. Now come in with our 220. And we're gonna smooth out the bandsaw marks. All right, now we're gonna come in with our heat gun because we created some raw foam here and we're gonna seal it. Very nice. All right, now we're gonna come in with our Dremel. We have our dust mask on. All right, there we go. We've got rounded edges here on the front end, and we've got rounded edges around this bottom back end. Now we're gonna seal it. So what we're gonna do is we have our lines marked out here on this, what do we have here? We have 3/4 of an inch thick foam, and then we're gonna wrap it with this thin 2mm. So we have our patterns drawn out. Okay, so what we did is we drew our lines here on the bottom. That shows us how far we're gonna tip the table on the bandsaw. Now, we've done this before. We could stand our piece of foam up. We could come in with our box cutter and we could cut right down our line this way and then this way, and we could do that all the way around very simply, but we have a bandsaw, so we're gonna tip the table and knock it off. Okay, there we go. We cut off a corner off of all 4 sides. Here. All right, that looks like that's a little bit long. So, there we go. Test wrap it again, and that looks about right. Okay, now we know that that's the correct length. Now what we're going to do right here, the reason we draw these lines right here is we're going to burn these with a wood burner so that we have a nice little groove there. Oh yeah, it's ready, all right. All right, look at that. That's a beautiful little detail we put in there with the wood burner. Now we're just going to do this side. Now we're going to cut out this center section using the very tip of our X-Acto. We've got our lines burned in there, and we've got our triangles cut out. Just like that. Just like that. Beautiful. Now we're going to come in and we're going to lay this down right in the center, and we're going to wrap it around it, and look at that. That is going to look cool. All right. All right, there we go. Give it a few minutes and then bam, contact. There. There. That is very cool. Seal this. All right. right, here we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in up against the wall. All right, here's our pieces that are going to make up the back assembly right back here. So what we want to do is this. Let's separate these first. Okay. All right, so it's tipped on an angle. We go right through like that. And then we tip this one on an angle and we go right through on an angle like that. Straight, straight. All right. We've got a 90-degree on this side. We've got a bevel on the top and the side. Now we're going to do the same thing here. All right, there we go. See that? Bevel on this side and this side. So it's slight bevel cut across the top, and now all the rest we're just going to cut at 90-degree cuts. Look at that, very nice. Straight edges all the way around, a bevel cut at the top, and a little window. All right, now this side we're gonna knock out on the bandsaw real quick. All right, there we go. Now we're going to round off the top edge. All right, now we're going to come in with our 220. We're going to clean up this top piece so we don't see any of those bandsaw marks. All right, give these a few minutes. Same thing here. Flop. Right there. Right there. All right, here we go. We're going to line this up flush with the front edge and the bottom edge, just like that. All right, there we go. Look at that. Very cool. All right, there we go. Give it a few minutes. That is touching, and now that is touching. See how we did that? We stuck this piece to this piece first to get a nice tight contact there all the way across. Then we stuck the bottom down. All right, here we go. Now we're going to start cutting our pieces to build on the back end of our Magnum. And now what we need to do is we need to cut a bevel cut all the way around this piece. So we're going to stick it through at an angle. We're going to knock off a straight edge. Then we're going to... Oh yeah, look what we got there. Nice. We've got a beveled edge all the way around and a flat edge on the bottom. That. All right, now we're going to come in and we're going to punch out a hole on both ends of that little piece right there and right there. All right, see that? See how we... Now we're going to come in with our X-Acto knife. We're going to start at this edge of the circle, go to that edge, and then the same thing from that edge to that edge. And that's what we got. See that? Perfect round. All right, now we're going to round the edge of this off with the Dremel. Okay, and that's going to go on there just like that. Very nice. Now before we stick this down, Just like that. That is a nice little detail. All right, there we go. Look at that. All right, now we transferred our template over to our 2-inch thick piece of foam. We're gonna knock this out on the bandsaw. All right, there we go. Look at that. Very nice. Now that's gonna come in and it's going to live right in there like that. Look at that, man. This thing's starting to come together. And then okay, now we've transferred this pattern over to our 3mm foam. We did it. All right, there's our squares cut out. Now what we're doing is we are getting our wood burner ready. We're gonna do these creases right here and right here with the wood burner before we cut them out. Cut through all of our straight lines. We're going to pivot right around the corner like this. See that? All right, there we go. There's both of our pieces. Now we're going to come in with our wedge. We're going to attach here and here so that both sides have that detail on it. Very cool. Seal our foam. Okay, there we go. Give it a couple minutes. So we want to get flush. We're flush right here. We're flush on here, here, and here. Look at that. Nice on both sides. Very cool. Now, okay, we cut this little piece of foam, and what this is going to do is this is going to drop right in here, like so. It's going to create our little front piece. All right, give it a couple minutes. Right there. Very nice. Very. Now we're going to come in right down here. We're going to trim it. Okay, now let's get our dust mask on. All right, look at that. Beautiful rounded edges all over the place. See that on the front? We cleaned that up and you can't even tell. Looks like one piece wrapping around the front. Very nice. All right, there we go. See that? We've got a nice little rounded off edge right there and right there. There. All right, there's our marks. Now we. Okay, now what we did was we struck this line. We're going to come in and we're going to cut a bevel from this side. We're going to flip it over to that side. We're going to come right in off of that peak right there, right down the middle. And we're going to bevel the other direction. And what that gave us is this. That gave us a triangle. And the reason we did that is we want to come right in here and we want to drop this triangle right in here to get this nice little finished detail right there on the edge. right here and right here. Look at that. Give it a few minutes and we'll stick it together. Now we're going to line our edge up right here so it's flush. That is insane. Look at that little angle detail there. Makes it look like this whole body section is kind of wrapping around right here. We just did that by cutting a little triangle wedge and putting it in there. Very cool. Look at that. Now we'll go in with the Dremel and we'll hit it just a little bit to clean it up in there. And it's going to look tight. Wow. All right, there we go. Look at that. That's beautiful. A little finished edge right in there. And the one on this side. Look at that. Wow. Very cool. All right, let's tighten all this up with some heat. Wow, we are way far along on this thing. Look at that. All right, here we go. These are the pieces we're going to use to start building the handle of our Magnum. We've got 3 different thicknesses of foam here. We've got 2 millimeters here, 4 millimeters here, and a thick 1 inch here. Okay, now we're going to come in with our hole punch. And we're going to punch out our little hole right there in the middle. All right, there we go. Perfect. Now we're just... All right, here we go. Now we're going to cut out the 1 inch base piece. Now we could easily use a box cutter and cut straight through, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to knock this out on the bandsaw real quick. All right. All right, there we go. We've got all of our lines drawn on there for where we need to contact cement. Give it 5 minutes and then bam, contact. We're going to line up our foam right here on the edge. There we go. We're going to go down this side. All right. We're going to line this up right on the edge. All right, there we go. We've got our 3 layers on that side and on this side. Now the reason we did that, mirror images on both sides, is now we're going to come in with the template and we're going to draw out our handle and we're going to cut it out. Okay, now what we did is we transferred our template over to this piece of foam. Now when we come in and we cut this out on the bandsaw, it's going to be perfect on both sides. Very nice. We've got our 3 levels on here on both sides. All right, now we're going to get our dust mask on and we're going to get our Dremel out and we're going to round off the edges of this handle. All right, now we're going to come in with our 220 and we're going to smooth out some of our bandsaw marks. Get out our heat gun and tighten some of this up. All right, there we go. Look at that. Nice tight foam. The surface tightens up when you heat it. Now we're going to come in with our bandsaw and we're going to make a nice clean cut along the bottom right here because there's a couple little overhangs right here and we're just going to clean that off. Look at that. We took a thick 1 inch piece and then we layered 2 layers on top of it and then trimmed it all out with the bandsaw. We've got a jammin' handle. Nice. Man, oh man, we are neck deep in this thing, but it's turning out great and you see the same thing that you see in every one of our builds. Totally easy. Complicated, but easy. Just take your time, cut the right way, test the pieces out, make sure everything's gonna fit, and it's going down like a glove. Tons of work done so far, but tons more to go. A lot of details in this. But so far, so good. All right, that concludes making an EVA foam Halo Magnum Part 1. Hope you liked it. If you did, give us a like, share us with a friend, and subscribe to this channel. And together we're going to go step by step through a lot more super cool builds so that you get the props you deserve. Thanks for coming. See you next time.